What is going on, Movie Meals? We are here for a Doctor Sleep review. Busy this weekend, we didn't have time to make it, didn't have time to go see it. Before we get started, let's just say Happy Veterans Day to everyone, and thanks all the veterans out there for their service. So we're here, Doctor Sleep, non-spoiler review. Kyle, let's get into it. What'd you think?
I thought very highly of it. I thought it was a pretty good sequel to The Shining. But when it comes to it being a sequel, like, it's kind of vague, because it feels like at first it's trying to be like a direct sequel to The Shining, the movie from Stanley Kubrick, but at the same time it also feels like it's trying to depart away from it being like a direct sequel to that one, almost as if they're taking stuff from the book of Doctor Sleep, which I've never read, so I'm only speculating. But it feels like they're kind of doing a mixture of both between the book and like a direct sequel to the movie. And I thought it was able to manage that very well. It still was able to keep the essence of what The Shining was all about, of what the movie was trying to get at least in my opinion. And I thought it did a great job of carrying the story of Danny from the first movie into the second one very well. And it was done very well by Ewan McGregor, who plays the adult version of Danny in this. He does an excellent job here. And when it comes to what The Shining is, it still kept it very vague and non-descriptive about what it is all about, but at the same time it was still giving me little hints as to what it could be that kept me entertained throughout the whole movie. As well as for standouts like Ewan McGregor, Rebecca Ferguson as the villain in this, she does a fantastic job. And what I admire about the movie was that it gave time for her character, for the villain role, to get as much screen time, if not more so, as Danny does. And I really enjoyed that. It made me like her performance, and it made me like her character arc a lot in the movie. And I thought the young actress that learns about The Shining and what it possibly could be from Danny, I thought that actress did a very, very good job as well. She really was a good actress in the movie. I totally had a brain fart there. Excuse me. So yeah, overall, I think it did enough to where it was able to manage the best of both worlds while sticking true to probably what the book was trying to be, but also be a direct enough sequel to The Shining. And I think, despite its runtime, it was pretty entertaining in the long haul.
This movie had a tough challenge because it had to appease not only the book readers, but it had to appease the people who love Kubrick's version of The Shining, as well as the book version of The Shining. And I think it does a pretty solid job. I think this is a sequel you can be happy with getting. I think all the performances are top-notch with Rebecca Ferguson stealing the show. Like, holy cow, she can do no wrong. She is incredible. And I really loved her performance. Ian McGregor is great. Really, all the performances all around are great. A lot of the supporting cast, as well as the young girl, are all fantastic. And it really does do a good job. Now, I saw The Shining extended cut, which I was unaware that it was the extended cut when I watched it. They were re-showing it in the theaters a couple months ago in October, and so I got a chance to go see that, and it with that extended cut, I had never seen the extended cut, but it goes a little bit more into the shine and the shining and the supernatural aspect of it, which kind of helped me, I think, going into this movie, which had a nice little payoff for me. It was nice rewatching The Shining going into it, and I think it's a worthy sequel. I really loved it when it got going, when Ian McGregor as Danny is starting to really communicate, and we're starting to really get going. We know now who our villains are, and it all starts to get moving, and the plot starts to build up. We start to have this climax. That's when I really liked it. The score was fantastic. The use of the old score as well as the new one really stood out to me with how much I loved it. So yeah, Kyle, what about you? What are your negatives?
I think the negatives about this movie, one is its long runtime. It is really long. I don't think it really helps for the overall story either. I think it really could have been trimmed down to be a shorter movie. Not terribly short, but at least short enough to where you don't really feel it dragging in parts. But also, when it comes to trying to find the balance between it being a sequel to the books or whether it's a sequel to the actual movie, I think just depending on what type of fan you are, whether you're a fan of the movie of The Shining or whether you're a fan of the books in general, you might have a hard time really getting yourself to enjoy it as much as possible, just because you might be really faithful to the movie and maybe the sequel doesn't really hold up to what the movie did, or you just found that the books did a better job at doing it justice as compared to what the movies did. So I think just depending on the type of fan you are, maybe you won't get the experience that you're hoping for out of this movie. But for me personally, who was able to enjoy the movie The Shining very much, I was able to get enough entertainment out of Dr. Sleep.
My negatives, it is long, and it does drag at parts, which I think you could have shaved off some time with this movie and still gotten the same effect. And my other issue is there are some areas. I'm gonna try to be vague here. There are some areas
No
where
spoilers.
where it's they do some things with a lack of CGI and the use of some recasting that I do not like, and I think is extremely jarring, and I think does not. I think it takes you out of the movie in a very bad way, and I think it really hurt the film. Where if they use a little bit of CGI, a little touch-ups in some areas with some flashbacks, I think it really fixes itself a lot more. And I think it would have not taken me out as... It may still would have taken me out, but I don't think it would have taken me out nearly as much to the point where I really didn't like it. But those are my only two negatives. Outside of that, again, it is a little long. You shave that off once it gets going. It's really enjoyable. I think it is a solid sequel, a good movie, and I think you should go check it out. If you're a fan of The Shining, if you're a fan of the book, I think it's worth that. And I love me some Obi-Wan Kenobi, so yeah. But guys, what did you think? Please comment below. Let us know. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, thanks for watching, Mom.
See you guys.